Hello everyone and welcome to episode 2 of Death on the Pitch. We're going to take a look at the league now that we've gone into week 9 of the competition. We're going to start off by taking a look at the results from last week before we have a look at the leaderboard, matchups for this week, and then give you updates on our Rookie Cup, our Open Ladder, and also take a look at our Play of the Week.
How did your game go earlier, Mayhems?
I don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to have to in a second. So let's have a look at the results. First of all, we had the Bastard Orcs versus the Harlequins. Now this was a Orc versus Pro Elf matchup. It's one we actually covered on the stream. Pretty tough match for the Elves. They did everything they could, but the control gameplay of the Orcs was just too much, so they actually never were able to get a foothold in the game. They had a lot of failed dodges as well, and that doesn't help, but I think that was partly due to the amount of tackle in the Orc team as well. Yeah. Second game up, we have the Stabby Stabbingtons versus the Cutie Patooties, and this was actually our game of the week, so again we covered this one on stream as well. The most amazing finish to a game ever, and we're going to look at it in our play in the week, so I'm not going to tell you any more, but the result was 1-0 to the Stabby Stabbingtons. Next up, we have a game where Leffy won. Following on from there, the Dead Inside Out and Dead team picked up a 2-1 win over the Knights on the Tiles, and the Jurassic Raptors defeated the Blackball Knights 2-1. The final result of the league was a 0-0 due to neither team being able to find the stadium. That puts us in a position leaderboard-wise. The league is essentially wide open right now. So while the top place is pretty much cemented in by the Orcs at 7, 1 and 0, that's Crazy's Orcs I should say, the rest of the league really is wide open. In second we have Abnorman's Norse at 6, 0 and 2. They picked up their second loss of their campaign. 2 losses back-to-back actually, so it'll be interesting to see who he has this week. In third we have Nurgle, the Corona Crushers, which is my team. Picked up my second loss of the campaign as well, so I'm currently sat at 5, 1 and 2. In joint third we have Leo Loca's Dead Inside Out. Now these guys are 5, 1 and 2, they're looking in great shape. The actual biggest team in the league TV-wise as well. So coming into the playoff race, they're actually in a very strong position. So everyone in that top 3 needs to be pretty worried about those guys. In fifth, but not out of play, well, out of playoff contention for now, but not out of the race, we have Callum and his Pro Elves, the Holloway Harlequins, currently set at 5, 0 and 3. One of the lower end TV-wise, but I know this is probably due to the injuries they picked up in their last match. I imagine that's probably going to shoot up by probably 200k after the next game.
Yeah. In
sixth, we have Leffe and his Necro Team, which is currently sat at 4, 0 and 4. Below him, we have Spectra and his Orcs, the Stabby Stabbingtons. These guys are 4, 0, 4 as well. They've started to show a resurgence in form, which is the perfect time. Again, they're in playoff contention right now. There's 3 games left of the season, so if they win all 3, they'll actually potentially can go up to second, depending on the results. In 8th, we have Mr. Ben and his Jurassic Raptors. Again, currently set at 4, 0 and 4, so they've got everything to play for over the next few weeks. Towards the bottom of the table, we have Dewey and his Chaos Dwarfs. They're currently set at 2, 3 and 3. Although unlikely, they can actually still qualify, I believe. Yes, because they can get up to 5 wins. Yes, so they can still qualify at the moment, depending on results. Cammy and his Chaos are currently set in 10th. I don't believe they can qualify now because they've got 6 losses instead of losses and draw split. We then have the Kemri, who are sat at 0, 2 and 6 in 11th. And at the bottom, due to some hardware issues, we have Uberspoons, who's currently sat at 0, 0 and 8. So with that being the current state of the league, we're going to go over and look at the schedule for week 9. So first up we have the Harlequin. So let's take a look at this team first. This is our Pro Elf team. They've got a few well-developed players. I know we've got an Agi 5 block dodge catcher, which is quite a force to be reckoned with. But they have some injuries. They don't have 11 players, so they're going to have a lot of loaners next match.
Which is also what their TV is a little bit on the low side in comparison as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll take a look at the Chaos Dwarfs that they're playing as well, just so you can make a fair assessment. Now, these guys are huge at 17-20, and they've got great skill development. So they've got guard on the team. Obviously, all their blockers start with block and tackle, thick skull. They've got a plus strength on a Chaos blocker here. They've got developed bulls, so you've got one with block and one with sure hands as well. And they've even started to skill up some of the hobgoblins. So Miggy, if we look at that, Pro Elves versus the Chaos Dwarfs, what's your pick?
My money is on the Chaos Dwarfs. They're going to have the Elves, unfortunately for them, have got a couple of injuries going into the game. And with the amount of tackle and the development on the players that are on the pitch for the Chaos Dwarfs, I just can't see them being able to pull off anything.
Okay, I think a good assessment there, but just to split the wire, I'm going to go for the Pro Elves in that matchup. I reckon it's going to be a 2-1 win to the Pro Elves. Below we have the Blackball Knights and the Royal Remains. So let's take a look at the Knights first of all. This is a Chaos team run by Cammy. Shout out to Cammy. Not a huge amount of development across the team, but 1 or 2 players seems to have been heavily invested in. Their star player here is their ball-carrying Beastman, although he does have a niggling injury now, so he's less likely to survive. They also have a fairly well-developed Minotaur, which is very rare to see now, but he does have the combination of Mighty Blow and Claw, which could be very useful. He also has Juggernaut, so he's safer to throw hits with as well. So actually a really nicely developed piece here. If I take a look at his opponent, we have the Royal Remains. So this is a Khemri team. Now Khemri are hard to develop, but he seems to be doing a good job. We've got Mighty Blow Guard, a block, a Guard Stand Firm, and a Guard Team Guardian. 1 Blitzer with no skills, and 1 Blitzer with Mighty Blow and an extra AV. Then below we have a Skeleton that's Strength 4 and a Thrower with Block and Fend. Miggy, let's have your pick for this one.
Ooh. I reckon the Royal Remains for that one.
You're going the Royal Remains, the Khemri. I'm going to pick Cammy and the Blackball Knights. I think they're going to get it done. I love Minotaurs, so I think he's going to get there. Now, the next matchup I would cover in depth. However, one of the coaches has hardware issues, so he's going to be unable to attend the game. This is the Knights on Tiles versus the Jurassic Raptors. Below we have the Corona Crushers and Dead Inside Out. Actually, a really, really important matchup for both of the coaches. So let's look at Dead Inside Out first. This is the largest roster that we currently have. It's at 1760. They've got 40k in the bank. Wow. When you look at this team, they have 2 whites. One's got Dodge and Guard. The other has Guard and Mighty Blow. 2 mummies. 1 with no skills and 1 with block and multiple block, which is going to be difficult to deal with. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 ghouls. All of them have block, so they're blodge players. One of them has an extra 2 agility, so it's an agility 5 ghoul, which is just disgusting. And the other one has, I believe that's sure hands and tackle. Let me just double check. No, it's strip ball and tackle, so I'm glad I checked that one. So he's more of a defensive player. They then have 1, 2, 3.
Agility 5 ghoul is going to cause you no end of issues.
Yeah, I need to get that to the floor pretty early. Let's take a look at the Crushers as well. So sitting in at 1600, but they do have 180,000 in the bank to spend. So there's a bit of flexibility here. I think I've got some decent development across this team. So I've got a guard stand firm beast. I've got 2 block mighty blow warriors, 2 block warriors. I've got a ball carrier that's got sure hands, which will counter strip ball, which is important to know. 2 heads to help me dodge, which essentially gives me agility 4, and also dodge as well to help me reroll and also stay upright a bit longer. I've got my hitter, who's probably not as good as some of the other ones in the league at the moment, but he currently has block and claw. Look at this guy, Walgor, what a beast. He's been pretty decent for me. And then a load of rotters and a dirty player rotter. The main thing here is this team might look very different come game day due to the amount of gold that I'm currently sat on. Miggy, let's have your pick.
I'm not saying this just because you're on the stream, but I actually think you should be able to win this one.
Okay, I picked myself last week over Leffy and it didn't work out, so I'm actually going to pick Leo on this one. Then next up we have the Stabby Stabbingtons versus the WWE Legends. Now, we very nearly made this the match of the week just because we think it's going to be really entertaining, and both of the teams picked up really big wins last week. If I go to the Stabby Stabbingtons to start with, first off on the team roster, and I'm going to say it again, I've said it every week so far, this being the second week, they're not a group of amazing players, but they're an effective group of players as an 11 or a 12-man squad. So they've got all the core skills you need to be successful, and that's why they were able to defeat the Norse last week. The coach is sat on 280,000 gold, so I wonder if he knows that's impacting his team value. I will drop him a message after this. If we look at the disgusting WWE Legends team, having played this recently, I can tell you it's not fun to play against. Currently has 2 flesh golems, one with block, 2 whites, both of them have mighty blow, one has guard. The 2 werewolves, Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Perfect, one of them has block dodge, one of them has mighty blow block, which is super fun to play against. A ghoul with block dodge, and then they have 4 zombies available. It would be 5, but I've injured one. A mixture of skills on them, including guard, block, wrestle, and dirty player. Miggy, who takes the pick for you, the Stabby Stabbingtons or the Legends?
Now, I did go for Stabby Stabbingtons last week,
Yeah.
but this week I do think that the Necro Team have just got too much.
Yeah.
I think they will win.
It's a very difficult team to play against, and I think it's going to be a difficult game for the Orcs to play. I'm going to pick the Stabby Stabbingtons purely because they need the win. They can lose it and still qualify, but if they win, they're in such a good position. So I'm going to pick the Stabbingtons on this one. And then finally, we have our match of the week. So this is Crazy's Orcs versus Abnorman's Norse. We will be streaming this one, so we'll take a look at the Norse first of all. These guys had a great start to the season, but they've had a difficult few weeks, picking up 2 losses in a row. The Star Berserker is out for the next game, and also a lineman with sure hands, dodge, and guard is out for the game as well. So they only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of their starting roster available. So they're going to have 3 loners on their team as well. But Norse loners aren't that bad. He still has his block guard Yeti, he still has his guard dauntless lineman, he still has sure hands fend, and he still has a killer, well technically 2 killers on the team as well, so he does have some firepower. If we take a look at the Orcs over here though, well that's just nasty. So, they've got just a base goblin. They've got a Black Orc with block guard, they've got a Black Orc with no skills, Black Orc with block mighty blow, and another one just block. But their blitzers is what really makes this team special. So here you have a block agility mighty blow tackle, Here you have a block Mighty Blow tackle. Here you have a block Mighty Blow agility guard. And then block Mighty Blow guard tackle. He likes Mighty Blow, actually, I've noticed. They also have a thrower. Who cares about that, because it's an orc thrower. A block tackle lineman and a block lineman. So they've actually got a substitute as well. Going into this match, there is a sizable TV advantage for the orcs, but that means they're going to be giving up several hundred thousand gold pieces to the Norse to potentially buy them something like a star player or maybe a wizard that could impact that match. So Miggy, give us your pick.
Unfortunately for Norman, he's missing 2 key players, and the Orcs have picked up tackle on quite a few of the linemen, which means Norm's not going to be able to run around them.
Yeah.
Because of that, I'm going to have to give it to the Orcs.
Yeah, and to be honest, not to dump on my boy Norman, because he knows I got love for him. I think Crazy's going to win this one. I think Orcs are so good. I think they're one of the better teams in the game, better designed teams in the game. And if you're going in with a lot of injuries, maybe the mental of the team isn't great either. It's not going to be a good week for him. So that's our roundup of our main league. We're going to take a look at the Rookie Cup now. So again, this is something that we're super proud of, that we're running. The whole idea is we get new coaches into the game, teach them how to play, support them, and help them develop their skills. If we have a look at the schedule, we still have 1 game remaining in this round. That's going to be played tomorrow night, so by the time you watch this, this will probably have been completed. We do have 3 results, though. We have the Munchingtons, which I believe are Cammy's Halflings, versus Shut Your Goblins, which are Leo Loca's Goblin team. That was a 1-0 win for the Goblins. The Comedy Critters picked up a 2-1 win over the AI opponent there, so that was a auto-generated result because we're missing a coach. And then one of the best games ever played, Miggy Wolfenstein, just coming up short in a 2-1 loss against the Count Bispings. Now, this nearly got Play of the Week. It didn't, and you'll understand why when you see it. Miggy very nearly beat me here. There was a single failed pickup roll, which ended up giving me the opportunity to dodge, bloodlust, pick up the ball, sprint, throw it, catch it, run, go for it, and score. So, very small margin of error there, but it was punished pretty hard. Overall, though, this league is doing what it's supposed to do. It's developing our newer coaches. The fact that he was 1 dice roll away from winning 2-1 is really impressive as well, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Current leaderboard, really embarrassing. I'm sat at the top again with 2 wins and the most developed team, even though I'm playing vampires, followed by Leo Loca and his goblins. Crazy and his Comedy Critters are below. Mr. Ben and his Jurassic Rookies are in 4th. We then have Miggy in 6th. The Chaos Dwarves from Zeds, or Andy, however you know, and Halflings by Callum at the bottom. Callum, pick your game up, man. You're better than this. The games for next week in this division are admin win for the Beards and Big Hats, because there's no, that's an AI coach. The Count Bispings, which is my team, versus Leo's Shut Your Goblins. So, Miggy, I'd like you to make a pick on that one. The vampires or the goblins?
That is a really hard one.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to win it, but I don't think it's going to be easy.
Yeah, I think the first half is going to be absolutely critical, and if he gets the removals he needs to with his secret weapons, then I think the goblins win. If he doesn't, and I'm able to score quickly, then I think the vampires take it.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Wolfenstein versus the Jurassic Rookies. I'm going to make a pick here. I'm actually going to pick a draw. I'm going to call 1-1 on this game. What about yourself, Miggy?
I actually think I'm going to win this 2-0.
2-0, wow! Big balls, throwing it out there. So Miggy with the 2-0 win, apparently. We'll see how that pans out next week. And then the Comedy Critters, that's Crazy, and the Munchingtons, the Halflings. Who do you see winning, and by what scoreline?
I reckon that's going to be 3-1 to the Critters.
3-1 to the Critters. I'm going to pick the Halflings. Cammy needs to up his game. Not Cammy. Cal needs to up his game, sorry. He's better than 0-2 start, and I think he's going to bounce back pretty hard this week. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Open Ladder. So, if I go to the Open Ladder page, here we go. So this is the Open Ladder that's running till September 18th. Just going to have a quick look at the lead. Oh, I'm at the top of this one again, although my team's dead. So, yeah, I'm currently sat at the top. Crazy's got a couple of good teams in there. Miggy's got Necro Team in there in 4th place. This is really open for anyone, really. So if you guys are interested in potentially winning a trophy or a sub to the channel, get involved. Drop me a message. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're not part of the group and you want to play in our Open Ladder, drop me a comment. I'll get in contact with you and we'll get you involved in that. Brilliant. So that takes us on to our Play of the Week. So I'm going to pass you over now to our replay panel. Play of the Week. Okay.
Taking a long time to think about what he's doing here.
He failed the GFI.
Oh, he's got the reroll.
Oh, of course it was a fucking skull.
Oh, that is unlucky.
He basically just rolled double 1. Yeah.
I don't know why Norm's even playing around.
Oh my god!
There we go. Oh no!
Oh my god!
Oh, the double fail! He's lost!
Oh my god.
I called it, mate. Stabby Stabbingtons for the win.
Snake eyes. We thought it was over. The thing is, like, I was sad for Laws because... And now, back to the studio. Can you believe it? What an amazing play. What an end to a game. That was insane. You may have noticed some technical issues in the first half. I apologise. For some reason, my co-host didn't get pulled over. His feed didn't get pulled through, and it took me 20 minutes to realise. Apologies, but I'm not going back and re-recording this. So, Miggy, you've been playing 3 weeks now. How has it been? What have you learned? And is there anything that you want to share with us?
It's been frustrating. I'm trying to learn very, very quickly not to lose my temper when the dice just are not going your way. I still think the biggest thing I've learned is trying to prioritise what dice you throw and when, and sometimes even just not throwing them and letting your opponent throw the one dice. Even though they technically have the advantage by them throwing them, there's also still the chance that they'll then have to burn rerolls. So trying to get my opponents to burn their rerolls through has been quite an interesting way of playing. Since I started trying to play some Amazon games,
Yeah.
I've noticed that I'm actually using a lot less of my rerolls because I'm playing a lot less Risk and a lot more controlled and a lot more strategic. I managed to beat one of the big streamers since we last had this, which was Reckless.
Yeah.
That was a bit unconventional, I would say. You know, I was throwing a few uphill dice, mainly when I had things like block dodge on my own characters, so that, you know, the chances of getting the skulls to actually knock myself down were not high.
Yeah.
So I had advantages on some of the skills.
I watched that game live, and I'll be honest, I was absolutely gobsmacked. Like, Rick is an amazing coach. He's a super nice guy, and he has this ability that I wish I had, which is to not get frustrated when the dice don't go his way. And I so wish I could channel that. I just can't. But you also did some good things in that game as well, and you didn't let the fact that you were playing a really, really, probably the biggest streamer in front of hundreds of people that were watching that game at the time, you didn't let that affect you, which was absolutely amazing and something that I was really impressed with.
Yeah, I mean, I think it helped that I'd literally just played goblins versus you,
Yeah.
because then I at least knew what they did. So I went into that match with maybe a little bit more knowledge, maybe not as much knowledge as an experienced or decent coach would have, but I went in there at least understanding what the special weapons were,
Mm-hmm.
how to move them, when they were coming off.
Yeah.
So charging down the pitch and scoring that really quick first try, allowed me to get that off. Then obviously failed one of his bribes, which was quite nice.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think he was prepared for me to go down there and score that quickly.
Yeah, it's unconventional for like top tier play, but that's how you upset the game balance. And yeah, I thought you played very interestingly, and you definitely earned the win at the end of the day. So yeah, well done on that one, dude.
Yeah, thank you. Holding off and stopping him getting the draw was really quite nice. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, he was pushing for the win, and then you still recovered it. He was pushing for the win, and you managed to break through his line and just gun it. It was a really interesting game.
I do love them wolves.
I fucking hate werewolves. Anyway, thank you for that, Mickey. We've got a final segment for the week, which is our bounty board. So I'm going to pass you over to Mrs. Mayhem now, who is going to talk to you about the bounty board.
Thank you, Mayhems. This week on the bounty board, we have 4 new bounties for you. In no particular order, we have the Butcher, a troll of the Stabby Stabbingtons. Now, he was nominated because he insists on wearing that tiny little cloth, and I also believe he said the word moist. No. Secondly, on the list, and part of the WWE Legends, we have Rowdy Roddy Piper, a werewolf. Now, he was nominated because he buttered the wrong side of the toast. Thirdly on the list, and also part of the WWE Legends, Mr. Perfect, a werewolf. He was nominated because he made Mayhem angry and punched the table, which made me jump. Lastly, but not least on the list, we have 10. Asaurus, Jurassic Raptor. He was nominated because he wet the bed. That's all from me. Back to Mayhems and Miggy in the studio.
And now, back to the studio. Thank you very much. Yeah, this has been an awesome episode. Thank you everyone that's tuned in. I hope those wolves get crushed over the next couple of weeks and I never have to see them again. If you are tuning in and you're not part of the league, first of all, thank you for sticking around for the full video. Really appreciate it. We got a lot of interest last week in this, so I'm hoping we get more of the same. If you'd like to take part in the league, or if you're interested in seeing more of our content, you can follow us on Twitch, so twitch.tv/mayhemzz22. Miggy, what's your Twitch information?
My Miglin TV.
The Miglin.tv. I'll put it in the description as well if you guys want to look. But thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you again next Sunday. Thank you.